Hello! In today's video, we're going to take a look at two versions of Garry's mod. One of them is V11 from December 2006, and the second one is V139 from July 2012. What's so special about those versions? The old one is the oldest version of Garry's mod 10 I was able to get working. The newer one is just 3 versions away from the release of Garry's mod 13. To put it simply, we're looking at two ends of the pre-13 GMod history spectrum. I'll explain more about it in a moment, but for now, without further ado, let's jump into Garry's mod 10, version 11. Right away we see G-Man surrounded by the iconic watermelons with a traffic cone hat. The map used in this scene is DM Runoff from Half-Life 2 Deathmatch. This is a good moment to talk a bit about the history of this version. Garry's mod 10 was released on Steam on November 29, 2006. This time, as a standalone game. Just like GMod 9, it ran on the 2006 version of the source engine. The build we're about to play is from December, but apart from minor bug fixes, it's almost identical to the launch version. Let's jump into one of the two maps shipped with the game, GM Construct and GM Flatgrass. Flatgrass was a new addition, as GMod 9 didn't include it. At the same time, many game mode specific maps were removed. We'll start with GM Construct. I really like how this map evolved since version 9. With each iteration it became more sunny and warm. This version feels like a middle ground. It's not as gloomy as the earlier one, but not as bright as the versions from GMod 11 and 12. The grass still uses the default Half-Life 2 texture with those weird short grass detail sprites. The sky is overcast, and the distant buildings fade slightly into the fog. Unfortunately, there are no ambient sounds to complement the atmosphere. Although, thinking about it now, silence might be better than the constant looping bird chirping in GMod 13. Inside the garage, a pair of jeeps and airboats are waiting to be used. The nice thing is that they come with mounted weapons. Later versions don't place vehicles here, but considering how hard they are to get with a gun normally, this garage setup is a pretty nice touch. In the second brick building, those strange concrete monkey bars are still present, along with the utility rooms, the white room, black room, and the one with colored lights. It wouldn't be GM Construct without the dark room. It looks almost identical to the one from GMod 9. The last notable difference is near the lake. There's a platform extending over the water, which is probably useful for water builds or boats. That's enough about the map, so let's move on to gameplay mechanics. We'll start with the spawn menu. Compared to GMod 9, this is a massive improvement. The layout is already very similar to later versions, with the spawn menu on the left and the tools menu on the right. One thing I really like here is the spinning prop icons. When you hover over an already spawned prop, its icon starts spinning. The NPC tab is very simplistic. It only features a handful of NPCs, with no categories and no options to disable AI or make them ignore the player. All you get is a drop-down menu for choosing a weapon. That said, the NPC icons themselves look quite nice. Moving on to the weapons tab. I didn't bother installing Counter-Strike source content, so I won't be testing the weapons here. Weapon spawning has been fixed though. Weapons now spawn directly in your inventory instead of on the ground. Right-clicking a weapon does nothing. Spawning them as an item on the ground is yet to be added. The Vehicles tab only contains 3 defaults: the airboat, the jeep, and the prisoner pod. The famous bouncy ball lives in the Entities tab, and that's basically the entire spawn menu. The tools are mostly the same as before. The tool gun now has a proper model and sound effects. An honorable mention goes to the Options tab in the tool menu, which allows you to select player models and tweak various visual settings. Now let's talk about the most important tool in Garry's mod, the physics gun. It's been improved both visually and mechanically, making it much easier to move and rotate objects. Rotation snapping is present, but it's extremely aggressive and jerky. Other than that, it behaves like a proper phys gun. Vehicles, however, handled terribly. Using turbo in the Jeep causes it to lose all steering. 1 out of 10 would not recommend. The last thing I want to cover here is movement. GMod 10 is based on the 2006 version of the source engine. Because of that, all the old movement quirks are still present. The most noticeable one is bunny hopping. As you can see, it's very effective. No clip, on the other hand, is still awful. It's slow, overly smooth, and you can't fly upward by pressing space. Now we're leaving Garry's Mod 10 behind and jumping almost 6 years forward to version 139. This version was released in July 2012 and is only 3 versions away from the official release of Garry's Mod 13. The first version of Garry's Mod 12 came out 2 years earlier, in June 2010, alongside an update to a newer source engine. The most notable addition in GMod 12 was Toybox, which arrived about a month after release. Before Toybox, installing add-ins wasn't always easy and usually required downloading files from the now defunct garysmod.com. There were no enforced standards, so the process was often confusing and risky. Some add-ins even included external programs, or CMD files, to automate installation. Toybox changed all of that. Now you could install an add-in with a single click. It still wasn't the same as the Steam Workshop we have today. Toybox focused mainly on hot-loading content into the game. We'll get back to Toybox shortly, but for now let's load into GM Construct once again. The map is completely overhauled. The sun is shining, and the grass is bright green, almost like Minecraft Alpha. The garage is much darker, and there are no vehicles to be found. The layout of the brick building has changed as well. The white room is now colorable, which is extremely useful for green screen effects. The dark room has also been slightly modified. Near the lake, the old platform is gone, but there are now stairs leading up to the garage roof. And if you look under those stairs, you'll find a nice little Easter egg. If this part feels rushed, that's intentional. The changes are noticeable, but not as drastic as in Garry's Mod 13. So I'm not focusing on them as much. One day, I'll make a video in which I cover the changes between GMod 12 and 13. Moving on to the spawn menu, this is the version I personally remember from when I started playing GMod. The props tab is mostly unchanged, but the browse tab was added somewhere around GMod 11. The NPC tab is now much more convenient, with proper categories and options to disable AI or make NPCs ignore the player. In March 2011, version 116 added support for Half-Life Source NPCs, which is a pretty important update. Please note that I have the Half-Life Renaissance add-on installed, which is why there are so many Half-Life 1 NPCs available here. The weapons tab has been revamped as well. You can now right-click a weapon to spawn it on the ground. This makes it much easier to give yourself additional ammo. The vehicles tab includes more options, such as seats and the jalopy, assuming you have episode 2 content mounted. The entities tab is fairly standard, featuring the bouncy ball and the Magnuson device. The final tab is Toybox, which we already talked about. The tool menu hasn't changed much overall, and I don't see any major new tools here. One feature I really like is the admin cleanup option, which works similarly to how it does in Garry's Mod 13. It removes decals, ragdolls, and props, effectively resetting the map to its original state. And that's where we'll wrap things up. To sum it all up, these 2 versions show just how much Garry's Mod evolved before version 13. V11 feels raw, still a bit experimental, and full of old source engine quirks. 139 is far more polished and familiar, clearly bridging the gap between classic Garry's Mod and the modern era. Together, they capture a sandbox game still finding its identity, and that's exactly what makes revisiting these versions so interesting. So that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed, and let me see you in the next one.